I have a thought. There's a war going on. At this particular moment, the transactions between different countries, they might get restricted through the traditional financing systems or the FX transactions between the stablecoins. So would that actually help?
When you move money in and out of Iran, it's usually limited. Banks usually prefer not to touch it. Sometimes, commodities that are traded from Iran have to be.
As global conflicts tightens financial restrictions and push entire economy into grey zone, Paolo, the head of partnerships at KAIA, is navigating the reality of moving money where traditional systems refuse to operate.
So for some time now, stablecoins have actually been used as payment methods for trade, as long as the settlement happens on the company's coffers. It doesn't really matter to them.
If a new crypto user is entering the market, what would be your completely unfiltered, raw review or the unbiased advice for the user?
Give me money, I'll make you rich. No, just kidding. No. Uh, if you're new, always verify. Always, I guess, pretty simple. Always study what you're going into.
And in a space driven by speed and opportunity, the real edge isn't just being early, it's understanding what you're getting into before the system teaches you the hard way. So, first of all, how are you?
I'm alright. I arrived yesterday, and it's Hong Kong again, but this time less cold. Yeah, and I'm excited to be here.
Yes. Last year it was a bit more crowded, but more footfall,
Yes.
right?
Yes. It was a
And,
bullish market.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how? What's your views on the current market right now?
Well, it's bearish, right? So but it's the best time to build and to get better deals. Yeah, for us. So that's why I'm still here.
Just doing the net practice, getting ready for the main game.
But we're deploying now. We can deploy now as well. It's better
Okay.
because it's cheaper.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what happened in the last full year? We met last year at the same
Yes.
edition. What changed?
Indeed. Well, last year if I recall, we were talking about mini dApps.
Yes.
We launched our experiments with Line. It's pretty good though. It had good traction, 100 million over users. It was limited to more GameFi though, and I think the narrative that then was already winding down.
Yes.
But we still got really good revenue then, right? So we used that experience, and this year we're transplanting that experience to more on-chain finance, on-chain financial products instead of just content and games. So
Yeah, I've seen around a mix of different dApps. There was also a side event that you hosted in Singapore around September, right? The Token Week. The projects were good, and now the market is not just into dApps, right?
Yeah.
You are also building your own products, as you mentioned in the
Yes.
conversations, right?
Yes.
Speaking about those products, I have a thought. There's a war going on, right, in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And at this particular moment, the transactions between different countries, they might get restricted through the traditional financing systems, right? You mentioned about the forex or the FX transactions between the stablecoins. So would that actually help, and how would it make the future?
So with the war, actually even before the war, Iran was already considered a sanctioned country.
Yes.
Right? So what that means is that when you move money in and out of Iran, it's usually limited. Banks usually prefer not to touch it.
Absolutely.
And sometimes commodities that are traded from Iran have to be, I wouldn't say washed, but have to go through other terminals like Malaysia, that are more friendly towards Iran. And then from then it gets branded or stamped as a non-sanctioned commodity product. Yeah. So I'm highlighting a project that, a principle that if it's sanctioned or if it's gray areas, they call these countries gray because they're not really uh, completely illegal, but they're not really completely
Legal as well.
legal as well because it's
So it's like a
ambiguous.
gray area.
Yeah, because there's always war going on. Banks usually don't finance these. It's
Absolutely.
hard to off ramp these. So for some time now, stablecoins have actually been used as payment methods for trade,
Hmm.
as long as the settlement happens on the company's coffers. It doesn't really matter to them how it's done, as long as it's done. Yeah. But
Okay.
now, because of the war, that problem is now heightened because there's even more stricter money flows. And for capital flows, it's even, yeah, it's more difficult. Mm.
It was already been on its road, but now the spotlight
Yes.
is there,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And how does that actually work? I mean, we have heard of concept of CBDCs
Mm.
for a very long time.
Mm.
The traditional banking systems working on it,
Mm.
making international payments through a well formatted structure, right?
Mm.
But now the effects between the local digital currencies,
Mm.
right, very native, that
Mm.
people actually use in their ecosystem daily,
Mm.
right? Because on ramp, off ramp, transaction between different currencies, uh, there's a hefty fees when you add up at the end of the transactional goal.
Yeah.
How do you solve that process?
Hmm. Well, I guess we'll have to go back to uh, utilities for stables
Yes.
and depending on the country as well. So for countries like Japan, Korea, Singapore, where I'm based in, our financial ecosystems are very robust.
Yes.
Means I can transfer money immediately. It can settle on my bank instantly as
Mm-hmm.
well. I can use QR. I can use tap payments. For these countries, the stablecoin utility is a little different. It's not needed for transfers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's more needed for other structured financial products. In Hong Kong here, for example, they're tokenizing ETFs. In
Yes.
Singapore, other banks are tokenizing their banking products, right? So these are we're shifting utilities. Yeah. So I guess your question is more on how are stables used locally, right?
Yes.
So it differs per country. Yeah. For Japan, maybe we'll move towards tokenizing bonds, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Japan is very big on bonds, especially because the yen is so
Yes.
weak,
Yes.
right? But for other countries that are may not be so strong in cross
Mm-hmm.
borders or their banking system may not be so mature, that's when we need stables and maybe on-chain FX. Yeah, so we work with a few different experiments,
Okay.
so to speak. Yeah, with mature countries, we do more debt, or maybe those the products that are targeted towards accredited investors,
Okay.
right? Or products that usually you don't have access to, you know. So, for example, um, a lot of these banking products, you need like huge assets for you to dive into. You need
Mm-hmm.
2 to 3 million worth of assets to prove. Yeah, but with DeFi, you don't have that barrier necessarily. You know what I mean? So the minimum ticket may no longer be 50K USD. It can just
Absolutely.
be smaller, but enjoy the same yields.
Enjoy the same
So
meals.
these
Yes.
kinds of stablecoin related products are what we're starting to offer. Yeah, for these mature countries. For the non-mature, for the emerging countries, emerging economies,
Mm-hmm.
that's where we have cross-border payments because a lot of the workers from emerging countries, emerging economies, are actually in different Asian countries. Like workers from Indonesia go to Taiwan,
Mm-hmm.
workers from the Philippines go to Japan or here to work in Hong Kong. You know, but usually when they send money, there's a lot of fees involved. Like
Yes.
yeah, back when I was sending money from Singapore to Philippines, it used to cost me about $4 a transaction. You know, so it's quite hefty. I
Yes.
think, yeah, because there's multiple stops in the fees. I
Yes.
have to pay the remittance company, the brick and mortar store. They
Mm-hmm.
have a cut, and then I have to send it to on ramp to my bank, from my bank to theirs, and then from their bank to the overseas bank. You know,
Yes.
and then from the overseas bank withdrawal fee as well. So there's a lot of cuts in
Multiple.
between, multiple
Yes.
cuts. But if we do stables, um, sure, there's on and off ramp fees, but
Mm-hmm.
the FX component is removed or drastically reduced because it's on chain swap. You just pay for the gas. and the swap.
Yes.
As long as there's little to no slippage,
Hmm.
as long as that's on the minor side, then it works. Yeah. So that's what we're
And
trying to solve.
how much do you think this uh, effects in stable coins would affect the near future of crypto?
Hmm. Well, I'm not gonna say that it's the new solution. I
Hmm.
think that's too unrealistic. Usually, you hear pundits saying, "Oh, this will take over the banking systems." Yeah, but
Yes.
those are very dangerous statements and
Yes.
unrealistic as well.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
usually, they're selling something that could be too good to be true.
Yes.
How we'd like to approach this instead is it's basically a 2.0, or not
Hmm.
2.0, but it's bettering the existing system. Yeah, we work with traditional banking rails,
Hmm.
but other parts that are capital inefficient, that's where we come in. For example, on-chain FX is one of those. Mm. I don't think we can run away from licensed payment service providers, licensed off ramps, because we have to, because we need AML, right?
Hmm.
We need to be compliant to anti-money laundering. We have to make
Absolutely.
sure that the
Absolutely.
person receiving this is vetted. Those we have to be compliant with, but we can make other efficiencies within the process, and that's where stables come
Let's talk more about investments,
in.
right? Most of the crypto users that initially jump into this market
Yeah,
is because easy money and quick money,
yeah.
right? It's still the narrative,
Still the
right?
narrative.
Still the narrative is like
Yeah,
easy, quick money. The market is 24/7 open. You
correct.
can trade anytime,
Mm,
make quick cash, and get out of here,
mm,
right?
mm.
What about the stable incomes? How do you see stable incomes in this ecosystem is going to grow?
Stable incomes, stable yields, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're no longer in 2020, 2022, where DeFi yield is like 20%,
Yes.
like what Luna promised before, right? So that was dangerous. That was very highly leveraged.
Yes.
Yeah. Now DeFi has tamed down to very safe, much safer instruments like
Hmm.
T bills and stuff. It still is true. The narrative is still true. It's on chain 24/7. Anyone could come in. There may not be a, a, a restricted period for you to hold your money in, right? I think those are still true. Yeah. So where investments I think are moving are towards this more liquid forms. For example, I don't have to lock my money in for 30 to 90 days
Hmm.
to get 5%.
Yes.
I can just, yeah, I can initiate a withdrawal and maybe I can get it back within 24 hours, which is what we're
Mhm.
doing, for example. Right. So deposit any amount from $1 to any amount. You can see your daily NAV, your NAV, on how much your assets are gaining, and you just initiate withdrawal fees. The fees are not with the bank, for example. The fees are just essentially gas fees and some transaction fees.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it you can get, I don't know, 5% or more soon with it,
But much more stable.
but
Uh,
much more, but not leveraged essentially, right? It's not that we take your money and we trade, because I think that's when the risk comes.
mhm.
It's more like we send it for other vaults that are more, that are safer, for example. Yeah, for example, we can earn yield on the float, right? This is
Okay.
a basic banking product, for example.
Wonderful.
You earn yield on the float, either
Hmm.
that, or we lend money to off-chain businesses,
Okay.
and then the interest that we gain from them
Hmm.
is functions as our yield. Yeah. So this is the RWA component.
Okay. So it's not just the Web3 components, but you also incorporate what exactly is in the ecosystem, not just being stick to the blockchain.
Yeah.
If a new crypto user is entering the market, right? What would be your completely unfiltered, raw review or the unbiased advice for the user?
Mm. Give me money, I'll make you rich. No, no, just kidding. No, no, no. If you're new, always verify. Always, I guess, pretty simple. Always study what you're going into. I guess that's the very generic answer.
Mhm.
Verify, don't trust. Um, but I think just make sure you have proper hygiene.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any wallets that you use, it has to be yours. Ask a
Okay.
friend, you know.
Mhm.
Um, if you put, yeah, you always have to read every transaction when you sign off on it. maybe work with trusted companies.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're shifting to more institutional facing crypto products. Here in Hong Kong and
Yes.
Singapore, we have tokenized ETFs, for
Mm-hmm.
example. So those maybe are more trustworthy. I think it's the same case when we invest in off chain, right?
Yes.
So when we invest in stocks, I'm not sure about you, but I didn't jump into single stock investments. I started with
Okay.
indexes,
Mm-hmm.
ETFs, S&P 500 would give
Mm-hmm.
you, I don't know, 10% or Nasdaq or QQQ and whatnot. Right? You start
Mm-hmm.
with this, and then you start with the moonshot bets like Tesla 100x or
Yes.
SpaceX and
Yes.
whatnot. Right? So there's a trust process, there's trust building exercise, and I think it's the same with DeFi,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can start with something that is very mild and safe, and
Yes.
then eventually, if you have high conviction bets, that could be one. But ideally, those are on the minor side, depending on your risk profile, of course. But yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before we wrap up, let's do a quick rapid fire, shall we?
far
Okay.
away. No,
Okay. So, investor or a builder?
investor or builder?
What would you say about yourself? Investor or a
Builder,
builder?
builder.
Builder. Okay. Still risk or taking high leaps?
High leaps,
Wonderful. Stablecoins, CBDCs,
stables.
stables. Cross border functioning different remittance applications or actual use case dApps?
Mm. Actual use case.
What would be your quick 3 words for KAIA?
Mm. Pick 3 words for KAIA. DeFi, RWAs, stablecoins.
And how do you describe yourself in 3 words?
Mm. I am bored. No, I guess I'm bored. Uh, I'm curious,
Okay.
and I'm mm, bored and curious, and maybe friendly. I would say friendly. Yeah,
Yeah, I could agree on that.
yeah. I'm bored. I'm bored means like I try to be more. I try to explore things.
Hmm.
Yeah, not just what everyone else is doing.
Not just fixing to the 5 second loop of scrolling, but
Yeah.
actually getting bored to think of new
Yes. Yes. Yes.
innovations,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much, Paolo, for giving us the time again. It
Appreciate.
was amazing talking to you. It was wonderful to see you again and getting your friendly advices as well.
Of
Great.
course. Yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having me.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Yeah.